Hello, and welcome to episode 9 of the Read Between Podcast, the improvised storytelling podcast where we take the internet's weirdest suggestions and turn them into weird, wacky, and crazy stories through the power of improv. I'm one of your co-hosts, Evan.
I'm your other co-host, Lynn.
And we are episode 9, baby. One more away from that big old episode 10.
From the big 1-0.
The big 1-0. We have almost made it to 10 episodes.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. We're at, I think, 10 uploads, over 10 uploads now on our feed, but that's including the 2 apologies that we had to make months ago.
Our public
apologies, yes. But we're just about to hit 10 actual episodes of the show, which is awesome.
It's awesome. It's great.
Yeah. So first off, thank you for sticking with us this long to listen to the show and tell your friends about it. It's really awesome. Mm-hmm. We're really happy to be doing the show. We really love doing it. It's a nice creative outlet for the both of us. So yeah, episode 10 will be a cool one.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll even have a guest for that one.
Oh my god.
Maybe we can even have a guest.
Oh my god.
Ooh, you should stay tuned. Stay tuned
to our maybe guest.
Yeah, stay tuned to find out who our guest may be. So keep posted on our Twitter page at readbetweencast. So
do it now.
Yeah, do it now. No, keep listening and then do it now.
Yeah.
And then
wait, you just made them do 2 things.
Subliminal messaging. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So for those of you who may be new to the show here, or who haven't listened in a while, basically what we do here on the Read Between podcast is we take suggestions from the internet, be it randomized story titles, weird articles that we find online with strange headlines, and we create the stories behind them through the power of improvisation. Right off the top of the head, no scripts, no characters beforehand, no plot points to hit. We just create it right off the top of the head.
Right off the old dome.
Right off the old noggin.
Right off the old eggnog.
Right off the old egghead.
Right off the old egg butt.
Right,
egg butt.
That's the other end of the body.
Egg butt.
All right, hashtag egg butt is
going to be a thing. Hashtag egg butt.
Oh gosh, now it's going to be a thing.
Come here, you egg butt.
Oh god. All right, hashtag egg butt. So Lynn here, hashtag egg butt, is going to peruse the subreddit Not the Onion and find some strange headlines for us that we'll then choose which one we want to make a story out of. You know what? For this week, why don't you take and sort the page by top post from the year?
Okay.
Or top of all time.
All time?
Yeah, all time. We'll see what some of the weirdest ones that come up are.
A lot of these are Trump.
Oh gosh. We don't want that.
Uber's search for a female CEO has narrowed it down to 3 men.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that was a whole interesting saga from last year, the whole Uber thing.
Yep. Man who mowed a lawn with the tornado behind him says he was keeping an eye on it.
Okay. All right, that's an interesting one. He's like the tornado whisperer, but he's also
he was mowing his lawn. He was like, I'm keeping an eye on that tornado. It's okay.
Watching you.
Ferry McFerry face to be name of New Sydney Ferry after public vote.
Oh yeah, leaving anything up to a public vote. Oh, is the best. That's a tough choice, but I like the guy. I like the guy riding his lawn. What was a lawnmower?
Oh, mowing his lawn while keeping an eye on a tornado.
Yes, I like that one. So let's tell that story.
So, Robert was an interesting person. He was one of those people where he would go on vacation, but before he went on vacation, there was always something he had to do around the house.
He had a long checklist of everything that needed to get done.
And it would have to get done before he went off anywhere. So the one year it was shampooing his lawn. He had to shampoo his lawn before he went off to vacation.
Shampooing a lawn. I've never heard of that.
Neither have I.
Is that it could be a real thing. I
don't think it is.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I could have sworn I've heard something about that where you can do that, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think it's a real thing.
Okay. I thought it was. I thought it could be.
He had to paint his living room one year before he left.
Okay.
And then one year he didn't even go on vacation. because he was in the zone for a massive tornado.
Oh.
And Robert being Robert, he waited until the very last day of evacuation, where the tornado was right on the horizon. And as he's leaving his house, he has all of his prized possessions packed away. He starts going down that house checklist of his.
Mm-hmm.
Are my curtains washed? Are my dog's toys put away? How about my lawn? And he looks outside, and that lawn is looking rough. And he goes, well, can't leave just yet. And he goes in his garage and brings out the mower to start mowing away that lawn. And his neighbors think he's crazy. Like, his neighbors are just straight up like, Robert, you gotta leave town, man. Like, this thing's hitting. And he was like, I'm fine. It'll be fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Robert's been in the neighborhood for at least like 30 years, and all of his his neighbors have all kind of like cycled in and out. So a lot of the people that live in the neighborhood now are kind of new to him and don't really have just kind of begun to understand what he's like.
Yeah.
And they realize that there's no stopping Robert. There's no reasoning with him. He's gonna do what he wants to do, and we all just gotta live with it.
Yep.
So he goes out. He gets on his riding mower, starts riding around, trying to beat the storm. He knows it's coming, but he's got to get he's got to get done what he needs to get done before he leaves. So he's out there on his mower, and he sees the funnel cloud forming in the sky. Granted, it's quite a bit of a ways away at this point, but he knows it's there.
Mm-hmm. And so every time he, passes a row of mowed lawn, I think is what I wanted to say. He looks back over at that cyclone, and he sees it getting bigger, getting stronger, coming faster, and still he's got neighbors, the last few, trying to convince him to leave to get going. He goes, "No, it's fine. I see it. It's okay. I can beat it. It's all right. I know. I can do this. It's fine." And just as it's coming over the hill towards his home, is he done on his lawnmower. And now he has to race back to his car and get in his car and get going. So he gets to his car and he throws it in reverse and he starts driving away as fast as he can. But that tornado is right on the back of his car, right at the bumper, saying hello. And the next thing he knew, he wasn't in his car anymore. The car got taken up by the tornado, and he was blown around inside the cyclone. And he had fallen out of his car. And in the distance of the cyclone, he saw, lo and behold, his lawnmower. So he starts almost like Olympic swimming.
Yeah.
In an air tunnel.
Yeah, it's like going to those simulated skydiving things, where you're just hanging in the air and you're just kind of like trying to swim your way through it and work your way through.
And he makes his way over to his lawnmower and he hops on board and he goes, "You and me, kid." And he gives it a good old hearty pat and he goes, "We saw this thing coming miles away. We're gonna make it through." And he gives the engine one tug, two tugs, and on the third one it roars to life. And with enough acceleration, he was able to fly around the cyclone.
On the lawnmower.
On a lawnmower.
And the whole time he's flying around the cyclone. He's just doing this to it. "I've got my eyes on you. I'm watching you."
That's gonna be fun to edit out.
It's all he's doing. Just, "I'm watching you."
And the cyclone almost roars back, a retort. It almost is like, "No, you're not. You can't stop me. I'm my own person. I know what I'm doing. It's fine." And Robert was very determined to beat this tornado. Mm-hmm. So
he'd already completed his checklist, and he wanted to go, but he added another thing to the checklist, which was beating this storm.
Yes. And so what he did is, instead of flying with the wind, he turned his lawnmower around and decided to fly against the wind, create his own cyclone to to cancel out the other cyclone.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts going in the other direction. And at first, man, it is taking too long.
Mm-hmm.
It is taking him what feels like days.
His motor was only 6 horsepower, so it was having enough trouble staying in the sky, let alone starting to create another cyclone.
Yep.
So he cranked the gas on his mower and was just going as fast as he possibly could. Mm-hmm. Starting to create another cyclone, and you could see it starting to form. It looked like a little water spout at the beginning, and then just as he kept circling and circling and circling, it got bigger and bigger and bigger until it became the exact same size as the other cyclone, and it was just 2 cyclones head to head. So it's 2 cyclones, one against the other, and it gets to a point where Robert's on his lawnmower at the top of the cyclone. And he's bearing down on this other cyclone. I'm gonna beat you. I'm ready for my vacation. I'm ready to get out of here. I just need to get you out of here. And this other cyclone is starting to roar back. I'm not finished here yet. And granted, this is all happening on the middle of his street. Everybody else is gone, but yet they're actually at the other end of the street watching this whole thing play out. Because it's just weird.
They're all looking over with their heads tilted over, and
they knew Robert was weird, but they didn't realize he was so weird that he could fight a cyclone by himself on his lawnmower. Mm-hmm. And it gets to a point where it's just this screaming match between Robert and this cyclone that ends in them clashing, and you see the air everything starts to go crazy around them. There's lightning, there's thunder, everything, and all of a sudden a bright flash of white light happens, and it's quiet. It's quiet. There's no rain. There's no wind. There's nothing. You could hear a pin drop on that street. And all of a sudden, you hear out of the corner of the street. The lawnmower comes back around and starts driving down the street with Robert on it.
And he just starts waving to all of his neighbors, who at this point are ecstatic.
Yeah.
You know, he not only did he cancel out a horrible, horrible storm, but he prevented their homes from being knocked down. Mm-hmm. And so they're all cheering and chanting, Robert, 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 Robert. And that's when, with the beautiful chanting behind him, Robert was able to lean down and take flight again. And he was driving his lawnmower over his town, waving a very kingly wave to them, as if to say, hello, yes, I am your champion.
I am your savior. The end?
The end?
The end.
All right.
That was a weird one.
That was a weird one.
That was a strange one. Still had a happy ending, though.
Well...
That's the one thing about our stories. They usually have happy endings.
Normally. We try to keep it on the upswing.
They get really freaking weird, though.
Welcome to our brains.
Yes. This is our brand. Our brand is...
I said brains, but if you want to go brand...
Well, I meant to say brand. I know you said brains. Our brand is our brains.
My brand!
My brand is my brain.
Yeah. Commercial?
Yeah. I think it's time to take a break.
All right. Awesome.
So we'll take a break. We'll regather our thoughts. We'll figure out what the hell we're going to talk about next, and then we'll be back with another story for you.
Hey guys, Lynn here from the Read Between Podcast. Not a lot of news that we have for you guys this week. I know we've been very head first with a lot of news as of late. However, this week we don't really got much for you. So I'm just going to sit here and plug our social media. You can follow us on Twitter at readbetweencast. Normally we post, whatever episode comes out that week. If there's any delays, we'll tell you there. We're trying to get in the habit of posting more on there and being more of a presence rather than using it as like an alert system. Because, you don't need Twitter to do that anymore because every other app alerts you when stuff goes on it. You can also find us on Facebook at Read Between Cast, and you can find us on YouTube. I believe if you just search Read Between Podcast, you'll find us there. And we are on, most podcast platforms, which is like super cool, if you know what I mean. Like you can go on podcasts on your Apple phone, on your cool iPhone, and type it in and find us. We're right there. We're on Stitcher. I don't know how you look stuff on Stitcher. I've never used it. You can find us on Google Play. Who knew? Oh my God, Google Play does podcasts? That's awesome. And other stuff. We're probably venture out more. You can find us on Pinecast. We're on Pinecast as well. But we're trying to venture out more, trying to figure out what other platforms will work best for podcasting. So I'm sure if you stay tuned and listen more, you'll find out that we will branch out as fast as possible. So yeah, other than that, like I said, not a lot of news to report. So I guess we'll just tell another story.
We're back from break. And another good break, I'd say.
Yeah, super good break.
Super good break.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so now that we're in the second half of the show, for those who may be uninitiated, what we like to do here is I use a website named fantasynamegenerators.com, where there is a book title generator. And what I'll do here is I will spin on a couple different genres, and we'll randomly generate some book title names, and we'll choose one that we will do our second story based on. So Lynn, I'm going to need your help here.
Okay, first book question.
Yes.
How do you get initiated into being a listener of Read Between?
How do you get initiated?
Because that's what you said, the uninitiated.
Oh, that's a good question.
Blood Oath?
Yeah. Blood Oath, Spit Shake.
Deed to Your House?
What's that?
Deed to Your House?
Yeah, your first, make sure you're giving up your firstborn child. That's
Not to us, though.
No.
I don't want your kid.
No, to Apple and iTunes.
To Apple and iTunes.
To the podcast gods, basically. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the easiest way.
Mm-hmm.
You can send the deed to your house to readbetweencast@gmail.com.
Yeah, just scan that
just
right in.
Scan that document and send it right over. Then you're initiated. So, yeah, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All
right. So, Lynn, give me a genre you'd like me to spin on. Nonfiction. All right. Spin. Here's one. Board of Maths.
Of maths?
Maths. M-A-T-H-S.
Like mathematics.
Yes, mathematics.
Okay.
Yes, Board of Maths.
I understand that. I would fall asleep. Like, straight up, my teacher would have to, like, shake me a little bit after every class and be like, Lynn, you're failing. And I went, yeah, I know.
I was pretty good at math in school until I got to college. Then, yeah, it all went to shit.
I almost didn't graduate because I was so bad at math.
I had to take a summer class for one of my math classes.
I was in remedial.
I had to retake my one math class.
I was in all AP and honors, but math, remedial math. It was horrible.
I retook Calc 3 in college because I got a D. And then I took the summer class and I got a C+. I spent $1,500 on that class.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But enough about school.
Yeah. Fuck off.
Yes. Okay, next genre.
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi. All right. 1, 2, 3. What do we got? Afraid of the Moon.
That's pretty far away, but okay.
I mean, you still have reason to be afraid of it.
You're right.
It's a big, scary thing that we don't know much about. Only a few people have been on it.
I mean, there's not a lot on the moon.
How do you know? Have you been there?
Have you?
No.
So how can you claim that there is?
Okay, fine. Never mind. What's the last genre you want me to spin on?
Adventure.
All right. So far, we have Board of Maths and Afraid of the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 1, 2, 3. What do we see? Tortoise with gold.
Just like in his hand always?
I guess. I'm gonna. Yeah, I guess this turtle has opposable thumbs and.
Okay.
So Board of Maths, Afraid of the Moon, Tortoise with gold.
All right. I mean, I'm gonna need some help here.
Yes.
Which one do you like most?
I kind of think Board of Maths would be fun to tell.
Board of Maths?
Yeah.
That's basically my high school career.
Lynn, that wasn't biographical. Well, it's nonfiction.
It's nonfiction.
But it's not supposed to be biographical.
Yeah, but it's nonfiction.
What do you like?
I'd rather not relive me almost not graduating high school.
So how about Afraid of the Moon?
Okay, Afraid of the Moon.
Afraid of the Moon. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, for your entertainment, Afraid of the Moon. The year is 1975. We are a few years removed from first man landing on the moon. Prosperity for the space program is at an all-time high. Everybody is super invested and interested in the program. It's, we've crossed into uncharted territory. We've made progress that no man has ever made before. However, there are those that were skeptical of our passages to outer space and beyond. And there's one person in particular who was vehemently against and ultimately afraid of any of these expeditions.
Yeah, Penelope was not into the moon.
No.
She was not on game with everyone else.
No. And we should preface this. Penelope is Penelope Armstrong.
Yes.
Penelope Armstrong, cousin of Neil Armstrong.
Didn't get along very well.
No, they lived on different sides of the country. They didn't really talk much.
Nope.
But
she just wasn't into the idea of messing with the moon. She believed ever since she was a young girl that things that are out there in space are out there for a reason. Whether it's extraterrestrial life or, just straight up danger that humans are putting themselves in. The way she saw it was, it's out there, we're in here, let's stay here. So when we started traveling to the moon, when we had all of these expeditions to find out more about space, she was just like, nah, man. And that's how she started the Anti-Moon Brigade.
Yes. The AMB for short.
Yes, the AMP.
The AMP. The AMP was dedicated to all things non-moon.
Yes.
Everything that could be done that was not related to going to the moon was all fair game in that organization.
Mm-hmm.
They were totally cool with the sun. They were cool with learning more about the sun, but the moon.
Because the sun you can't go to.
You can't go to because you'll die.
Observe it.
Yeah, you'll die. So other planets that are outside of our galaxy that we wouldn't be able to reach, fine, absolutely fine. But the moon,
no,
absolutely not.
Don't mess with it.
It's too close.
Mm-hmm.
It's way too close. Yeah, it was Penelope and a few other people who just also happened to be all cousins of other astronauts.
Yeah.
So you had Rebecca Aldrin, Becky Aldrin, Buzz Aldrin's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
I think third cousin. You had, John Glenn's cousin. I think that was her name was like Andrea Glenn. I think. Yeah. So it was just the three of them to start off with, and unfortunately it didn't get much bigger than that. But
no, they had some people who would join and then die off.
Yeah.
Not like physically pass away, but like just not be into it, or
they got kicked out because they then joined NASA.
Mm-hmm. They were like, man, but space is cool.
Yeah.
And they just, fucked off kind of situation.
Fucked off to the moon.
Fucked off to the moon?
Yeah.
Specifically
to the moon.
And so Penelope was just, she felt as if she needed to show people why they should be afraid of the moon. And she figured out that the best way to do this was to overcome her fear of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when she came up with the idea of joining NASA, attempting to get on to the next journey to the moon, bring her own camcorder, which, how is that possible? Don't ask me. I don't know. But bring her own camcorder and film what she found on the moon. So this was a very, very long plan in the making. It took over a decade, probably, I would say.
Well, yeah, because it involved her having to sneak into NASA facilities and, obtain copies of certain documents so she could know how to get in and out of buildings, who to talk to, steal outfits to make her way through the buildings to get towards the ship and get towards anywhere she would need to get to. It was a long and arduous process, and a lot of time and effort and planning went into it.
Mm-hmm.
Until you said it took about a decade. So it was around, I want to say, August of 1986.
Yeah.
August of 86. Penelope decided that this was the time. Everything's in place. I'm all set. The next mission is next week. I'm hopping on that rocket.
Just casually hopping on
Just
it.
casually hopping on that rocket, and I'm going right to the moon, baby.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So launch day comes. She gets to Cape Canaveral.
Mm-hmm.
She gets down there. I believe Cape Canaveral is where they launch the rockets from, right?
For the story, let's say yes.
Yes, they launched the rockets from. It's somewhere in Florida, somewhere in the United States where they launched the rockets. We're not geography majors, folks. We're podcasters.
This is government information that we are not supposed to know.
It's classified information.
If we tell you the truth, we'll get shot.
Yeah, so we actually have red dots on our chest right now as we're recording this. So we gotta be careful.
If there's no episode next week, that's why.
Yeah. So with that, so launch day comes. She's making her way through the NASA headquarters building, making her way towards the launch pad, when all of a sudden a new security guard that had not been there at all in her time scouting the place happened to stop her. His name was Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Bill was a new guy, and Bill was one of those guys that, he's new and he's trying to make an impression. He's trying to not fuck it up.
Yeah.
So he can, keep this job because it's a good paying gig. NASA pays well, government job. So he didn't want to lose that gig. So he sees this woman that he's never seen before.
Yeah.
And he sees her. He stops her. He says, "What are you doing here? I never seen you around here before. Where'd you get that spacesuit?"
And she looked at him and went, "I don't know. Where'd you get that security guard suit?"
Bam, 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 bam. I'm sorry, this is the 80s. That
hasn't happened.
That hasn't happened yet. No. But he kind of backed down after that, although he still kept an eye on her, because at one point he noticed that she was walking away. There happened to be a tear in her spacesuit. It's a small tear, but she was running past him so fast he couldn't stop her. But he kept that in the back of his mind as she ran off and continued her journey towards the launch pad.
What's his name again?
Bill.
Bill also was the only one who noticed it.
Yeah.
Right? So, she gets on the rocket, no problem. Mm-hmm. Meets the other astronauts, they don't ask any questions, no problem.
Well, the main reason why nobody asked any questions was she already had her helmet on.
Mm-hmm.
And to make sure that nobody could tell who she was, the glass front on it, she had smoked it out. She had put a tint on it. She put a dark smoke tint on it so nobody could see her face.
The only
downside, she could see out of it.
The only downside I'm gonna say is she kind of had a hard time.
Yeah.
Viewing things.
Yeah, she went to walk onto the launch pad, but almost fell off the bridge to get into the plane get into the rocket.
She could see shapes and figures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but fine movements, not really ideal with the smoked out space helmet. It's like when you see NFL players with the smoked out visors.
Oh my god.
Except hers covered her whole face.
Her entire face.
Her entire face, not just her eyes.
It wasn't the best idea, but it's what she had.
It's what she had, and it's what she thought would get her through without any issues, which it did, surprisingly.
It worked, and then she just kept her helmet on the entire time.
Yeah.
Didn't eat in front of anybody.
Yeah. NASA security was very lax back in the 80s.
Yeah, apparently.
She actually was the reason a lot of security policies changed at NASA.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. So anyway, she makes her way onto the rocket, and going through the pre-flight checks, she's stumbling her way through it. All the other people on the rocket are, pushing their buttons and getting everything set up. She's just like, "Gotcha. Yep. No, nope. I'm totally cool back here."
I'm just gonna check out the beds.
Yeah.
What the bed situation's like.
Yeah. Also, food. Food. What do we got?
Anyone want taquitos?
Yeah. Anybody? I got some soup. I brought a thing of...
Got some dehydrated soup.
No, actually, because she's not actually an employee of NASA, she didn't even realize that you had to like dehydrate food. So like she brought like a can of soup. She brought juice bottles and everything like that. So yeah, she's
bless her heart.
Yeah, she wasn't. Folks, let's just get it out there. She was not the brightest one in the. She was not the brightest bulb.
In all fairness, though, she was the only one there who wasn't like properly trained for this.
True.
You know, like
she was kind of faking it. She was
faking it.
Faking it. Yeah. Fake it till you make it. But no, as they're getting ready to hear the countdown to blast off, all of a sudden, Bill, the security guard, you see him running across the launch bridge towards the door of the rocket. He starts banging on the door. It's like, hey! I need to talk to the one with the smoked out helmet.
So the rocket, the engine is starting.
Yeah, the fire is starting to build underneath this rocket.
Like he should probably get the hell out.
Yeah.
So they open the door.
They don't even stop the engine.
No. They're just like, all right, buddy, let's hurry this up. Come on, you got fire literally right under your butt. Yeah. Let's go. Like, what do you need from her?
Yeah. He says, this one has a tear in her suit. You gotta see, she's not gonna last at all if she's got a tear in her suit. So everybody turns and looks at Penelope, and they'll say, well, I mean, is this true? She gets up. She still does not take the helmet off.
No.
She needs to keep up appearances at all costs. Mm-hmm. She gets up, turns around, and of course there's a tear there.
Of course there is. Again, nothing stopped. Rockets are still going.
Yeah.
This rocket is like shaking because it's ready to take off, and she's just like, "What do I do? What's gonna happen to me? Mm-hmm. I'm not ready for this."
Well, unfortunately for her, all of the other pilots and all the other engineers on board said, "What's the big deal? We have like a bunch of other spacesuits on here. You'll be fine." She's like, "Oh shit!" And at that point, you hear from Houston the countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So to keep Bill from catching on fire.
No, Bill was in the rocket.
He was yanked in.
Yep.
The doors closed, and they shot off into space.
All 12 of them, including Penelope and Bill.
Yep. And I don't know how long it takes to go to space. Do you? 3 days. So 3 days pass, and they're at the moon.
I mean, in those 3 days, Penelope and Bill were trying to adjust to life in zero gravity. Bill especially, because he had zero.
Neither did Penelope, though.
Well, she had at least obtained documents and had read up a little bit. There were some things she didn't know, but Bill had no clue what he got himself into.
That's true.
He experienced a lot of zero G sickness, which
barf everywhere.
Barf everywhere, unfortunately. That is unfortunately that's what led to having to like waterproof everything inside of a spaceship. Again, there were a lot of things that changed after this whole escapade within NASA. It was a real problem.
Oh God, you have no idea.
Yeah, NASA really had to tighten things up after this.
Yes. So 3 days pass, and they're at the moon, and the rest of the astronauts kind of agree that like Bill has been through some shit, and they feel like he should at least be able to like walk on the moon for a second. So they put him in a spacesuit. And they send him out with Penelope. They say, "Okay, you're gonna go out with astronaut Penelope."
Because they eventually found out her name.
She had to give it away at some
on like day 2.
Yeah, she had to.
What happened was Penelope was screaming inside of her helmet because she was freaking the hell out about this whole thing. She got somebody else that was totally uninvolved. She was just
screaming her own name.
She was screaming her own name. So somebody had to put on like one of their giant space gloves and punch the front of her helmet out. So they would be like, "Stop screaming."
that also led to her having to get a new helmet.
Yeah, exactly.
So her cover was
Her
blown.
cover was blown. And pretty much, and the glass was in her face.
Well, luckily the 0G, she just had to kind of like brush it.
Yeah, it just exactly.
But then like they had to clean that shit up, which was not easy.
Yeah, Bill accidentally had a piece of glass fly into his face as he was sleeping one night.
Oh, like when he was snoring.
He was snoring.
Right nose.
Yep, exactly.
Mm. So they told Bill, okay, you're gonna go out with astronaut Penelope and you're gonna do a little space exploring. And this is when Bill learned the truth about Penelope.
Mm-hmm.
They get out there. Penelope has her camcorder, and they're walking around, and Bill goes, "Hey, no, none of the other astronauts have camcorders. Why do you have camera out here?" And she goes, "Because I'm a filmmaker." And you can tell just by like the tone in her voice that she's lying through her teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "All right, you got to tell me the truth. We are miles and miles away from home. It took us 3 days to get here. What's going on?" And then she tells him she's afraid of the moon. There's reasons to be afraid. She's part of the anti-moon brigade.
She's the only one at this point.
Only one. Brigade. They all were like, "All right, fuck it. It's a moon."
Yeah.
And she told the truth. "I'm here to discover what's really on the moon. That's it." And he goes, "All right, well, now that I know I'm involved in this crap, so get your shit and let's go." And so they start traveling. Well past the area that they were supposed to travel, they just kind of kept going until they found something interesting.
Yeah, because they were tethered to the lander,
mm-hmm.
but by that point they had like pretty much broken it,
mm-hmm.
and it was just dragging behind them.
Yeah. Eventually, they come across this cave.
Moon cave.
A moon cave.
Yes, a moon cave where where there was of course moon rocks, which you find on the moon, but there were footprints that were not the footprints that they were making with their spacesuit boots.
No, in fact, they noticed that like it was an actual foot with toes, so it was someone who was not even wearing shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep going. The entire time Penelope has her recorder on.
Mm-hmm.
And they get into the back of the cave. And they hear noises. And just with a little shimmer of light, even though there's no light in space.
Yeah.
They see an extraterrestrial human being.
His skin was gray.
Well, not human being, but a being.
Yeah. His skin was gray, as we typically think green, but it was actually gray. Skin.
Gray like the moon.
Yeah. His eyes were very big. He had very big pupils. His arms and legs were very long and lanky.
Mm-hmm.
He looked pretty much what you would think a typical alien would look like.
So while Bill kind of shrinked away in fear,
mm-hmm.
Penelope saw this alien, and it was like love at first sight.
She fell in love.
It's almost an understatement, really. You know, head over heels for this alien. Mm-hmm. And this alien, you could tell, was into Penelope.
Mm-hmm. You could see him obviously swooning over her.
And that's when Penelope let go of her camera, and Bill grabbed it and tried to grab her. And Penelope was like, "Come on, Penelope, we gotta get out. We gotta go tell someone about this. This is crazy. This is just bananas." Mm-hmm. And she was like, 5 more minutes. And Bill was like, "No, we gotta go now. We gotta go now, girl. We gotta go now." And she was like, "Okay, whatever." And no matter how much Bill tried to coerce her into going with him, mm-hmm. it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So he left her there.
Bill went back to the lander. Everybody was wondering what the hell happened to Penelope. Where did she go? Bill's like, some alien person took her out. I don't know, some gray guy with long arms, long legs. And at this point, they just thought Bill went crazy, and Penelope died somehow. And they just grabbed him, threw him back in the lander, and left. They're like, "We've wasted enough of our time here. We need to go. We're done." And They left Penelope on the moon.
Penelope has never been seen again.
NASA has pretty much struck most of this off the record.
Mm-hmm.
This mission basically never even happened.
They did eventually see the tape because Bill did grab her camcorder before she ran off with an alien. And they did see that this alien may or may not exist, depending on the shapes that they saw. And so even that VHS tape that's stowed very deep in NASA.
Yeah.
They won't let anyone go near it.
The end, I guess.
The end.
The end.
This is kind of a long story.
Yeah. NASA's got some weird history.
Yeah, we got red dots on us again.
We got. It's
Give it
okay.
away.
It's okay. We're done. We didn't go into any of the other classified stuff. We're good. We're good. You can put the rifle down. It's okay.
You want some tea?
I don't think that.
Calms you down. I got some oolong. I got a box full of tea. You want some tea?
I don't think they want any.
I don't think they want any either. I think they just want us to just fucking sign off.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out
I think
of
we
here.
should sign off.
All right. So, what are you promoting this week, Evan?
So this week, I'll promote my Twitter page, which is @E_Williamson93. You can follow me there. Tweeting a lot more now that it's playoffs for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a good time to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. If you're an Eagles fan, follow me, and I'll be talking about football there. Yeah, that's it. But you can check me out. I perform with an improv comedy team in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania called Family Laundry. We perform every second and fourth Saturday at Steel Stacks in Bethlehem, PA, part of the Improv Comedy Power Hour. Our next show will actually be Saturday, January 27th, as part of the Steel Stacks Improv Comedy Festival, which is a 2-day improv festival at Steel Stacks with a whole bunch of teams from all across the U.S. and Canada. We got a lot of great teams coming in, headlined by The Law Firm and North Coast, two really awesome New York City improv teams. So for more information on that, you can go to www.steelstacks.org, and you can find information on both the Improv Festival and Power Hour there, as well as all the other comedy goings-ons.
And I think for the festival, the tickets are not too steep.
Yeah, tickets I want to say are like $25 or like maybe $20 on Friday.
They were like 20 on Friday
and 25 on Saturday, but you get
it's everything.
It's Friday
everything for that day.
Yeah, Friday goes from I believe 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. and Saturday goes from I want to say 11 a.m. through 1 or 2 a.m. So there's a lot of shows going on over the course of that time. So yeah, make sure you go check it out. Get your tickets. Hopefully we'll see you there.
I'm just gonna, give you guys my Twitter handle. At Annlynn, AYNNELNN. I tweet a lot, and whatever I do on the internet, I normally tweet about it first. I also stream occasionally on Twitch, and that's twitch.tv/Annlynn, AYNNELNN. Feed me bits. Stick around for fun times.
Keep her.
Bits keep me alive, and a couple bucks don't hurt.
One very special announcement we have regarding the podcast, regarding next week's episode. We've talked before about having some guest storytellers on the show, and next week we will have our very first guest storyteller for our 10th episode. And our guest storyteller next week will be our good friend Justin Passino. Justin is a local improv comedian here in Bethlehem, PA. He performs with the team Staycation, and he's also part of a whole bunch of other sketch comedy as well that's coming up in the Lehigh Valley. And he's also trained with the Upright Citizens Brigade in New York City and has performed there over the course of the last few months. He's an awesome comedian. He's a great friend of ours, and we're very excited to have him on the show.
It's gonna be a good time.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. So make sure you check back next week. It's our 10th episode. Holy shit, we made it to 10.
Crazy.
It's gonna be crazy. So make sure you tune in. We've also got a whole bunch of other guest storytellers lined up over the next few months.
We won't give anything away yet.
Not yet, but also stay tuned. We got a really cool Valentine's Day episode in the works.
Hopefully we can get this going.
Coming up real soon. So stay tuned for information on that in the next couple weeks. But in the meantime, get ready. Justin will be here next week. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're really excited for it. But yeah, I think that does it for this week. So
goodbye. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your Monday.
Enjoy these stories. Hope you enjoyed these stories.
Check out our shit.
Yeah, check out our Facebook. Check out our Twitter. Check out our YouTube, check out iTunes, check out Stitcher, check out Google Play. Search Read Between Podcast. You'll find us pretty much anywhere. Pretty much. So,
all right.
Until next week, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.